Hello students, today we are going to discuss and going to start a new topic, that is the classifications of elements and periodic tables. Periodic table itself a very interesting concept and very important concept in chemistry. You can say and you can also appreciate this fact that periodic table is a succinct organization of the whole chemistry. In your syllabus, class 11 syllabus, there is some portion of this topic has been covered, that is number one, that is the history of periodic table. History of periodic table. Second portion, it is very interesting portion, the correlation between the classification of the elements, between the classification of elements with its electronic configuration. Third point, that is periodicity of some properties. In your syllabus, these three things you need to know. The three things, that is your history of the periodic table. Second, the correlation between the classification of the elements and its electronic configuration, and you will understand how electronic configuration is going to determine the position of the elements in the periodic table. And third, that is periodicity of some properties in the periodic table. Periodicity means after some time the same properties of the elements have been recurring. That we are going to understand. In this video, we are going to understand, so we can say this is the part 1 of this series. That is the history of the periodic table. The periodic table that you can see today, as it stands today, it is not like that it has been built within a span of time, within 1 year or 2 years. It takes around 100 years to develop this periodic table. So there is a history behind it, and first thing, why the periodic classification of element is required, that we need to understand. The first thing that we need to understand in this video, that we will concentrate on this video, that is a part 1, history of the periodic table. Welcome to your favorite channel, Science with Mukherjee sir, and myself, K.K. Mukherjee, going to make you understand the history of the periodic table. You can see there is a development. Anything that you can see, it is not comes 1 and 2. Rome is not built in a day. It has taken lot of time. There is a coma. Yes. Like this periodic table is not prepared, periodic table is not built, what it stands today is not 1 year or 2 days. So what is their history? History is this: 1800 there are only 31 elements, and 1865 you see there are 63 elements. This is more than double. And now, as on day, it is 114 elements. So, to study all the elements, to study the chemistry of all the elements, it is not a very easy task. Also, all the elements will have its own compound. So, this is a problem for the chemistry, that you do not have able to remember, memorize all these skills at a time. So, to solve this problem, scientists, on the basis of the properties of the elements, scientists on the basis of the property of the elements, they have found that there is a similarity of the property of the some elements. So we can put those elements in a family or in a group, and this way you can see there is a periodic table has been came out. Periodic table, you can see there is a two constituents. Number one, that is the column, vertical column. In the periodic table, you can see this is a very important thing to understand. Vertical column. Vertical column means this is called the group, and horizontal row. Horizontal row, this is called the period, and mainly name it a series. So you can see the horizontal row and the vertical row in a periodic table, and in this periodic table the vertical column or group, what is called group, there is a placing of the elements which is having the similar properties. And in the horizontal row, which is called the period, and there is the element which having the defined properties. So now see the history of the periodic table, the contribution of the chemist who have made through a lot of contributions, and ultimately what it stands today, that we can see later on. So, what is the history of the periodic table? Let us understand. First scientist is a German scientist, Rainer was the Rainer was the first scientist in the year 1800. He gives the concept of the trend of the properties of the element, 1800. And in the year 1829, he gives and he understands the significance that when he arranged the elements in order of increasing the elements in the atomic mass, where in the 1929 he observed that there is a similarity of property after some time, and he has made some grouping of the elements where there is a similarity of the properties observed, and this is a group of three elements, and the three elements, that is this can be easily understand where we take one example, that is lithium. It is having an atomic mass of 7, sodium atomic mass is 23, and your potassium atomic is now 39. All these elements you can see having a similar in property, and they have been kept in a family where this property is same. But what he observed very interestingly, that the atomic mass of the sodium is the average of the atomic mass of both these two. So you can take this 39 plus 7, that is coming around 23. That is exactly the atomic mass of the sodium. And this is called the law of triads. Law of triads. Triads means 3. Law of triads given by Dobby in the year 1929. There is also similar groups you also see. Second group you can see, and you can do yourself, that is calcium, strontium and barium. Calcium is having your 40, atomic mass is 40 and it is 88 and it is 137. And if you make the average of these two atomic mass of calcium and barium, you will find almost very close to the cerium. So this is second group. Third group you can see, that is chlorine 35.5, bromine that is 80, and your iodine is 127. And if you make the same possibility, you found that is the atomic mass is very close to this, that is between, if we take the average of this chlorine and iodine, we will get the atomic mass of the bromine. Understand the law of triads, that the 3 groups of the element having the similar property, and you see the middle of the element having the mass which is the average of the other 2 elements, and the properties of the 3 elements, that is the middle element will have the property of the other 2 elements in between the other 2 elements. The next, French geologist Jean Curtis, French geologist, in the year of 1862, he attempted to classify the elements by arranging the elements in order of the increasing the atomic mass, and he found there is a recurrence of the properties of the elements. Means property of the element has been recurrent, periodicity is there. That is, after some time there is similarity of the elements he observed, and Jean Curtis prepared a cylindrical table, cylindrical periodic table. How he attempts to classify the elements by making a cylindrical periodic table, but this has not found a lot of popularity, and ultimately there is a good attempt and it makes some contribution afterwards. Third, the Newlands. Newlands is a chemist of British in the year 1865. He is given the law of octaves. Law of octaves. Law of octaves is very interesting. What he observed while arranging the elements in order of increasing their atomic mass, he found 8 elements having the similar property as of the first element. And just like octave, in the octave you can see there's the third 8 tune having the same as the first tune. So that is make a similarity of the octaves with this law, and you can understand in this way he is arranging the element in order of increasing the atomic masses. magnesium, then aluminum, then silicon, then comes phosphorus, then sulfur, and then fluorine. Then potassium. But he has arranged these elements in order of increasing their atomic masses. You can see lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, then sodium, magnesium, aluminum, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur, chloride, and this. And his law of octaves restricted to the calcium only. That is one of the major drawback of his law of octaves. And you can see lithium is the first element and sodium is the eighth element. It is having the same properties, and that is what he called the law of octaves. But with the invent of the inert gas, this law of octave does not hold good, because there is another series come, that is your inert gas, and it will make this law is not viable. But it is a very good attempt for the development of the periodic table. The main contribution goes, and main credit goes to the two chemists. One, that is Dmitry Mendeleev, and another is Lothar Meyer. Dmitry Mendeleev and Lothar Meyer in the year 1869 independently gives this very idea that when they arrange the elements in order of increasing the atomic masses, they found there is a similarity, periodicity of the properties of the elements. Lothar Meyer used the properties to classify the elements, that is, the physical properties like your boiling point, melting point, and atomic volume. And what he observed, there is a peak. There is a peak when peak means, suppose this is yes observed, that is, it is the atomic volume. This is atomic mass, and this is atomic volume. What he observed when he brought this atomic volume as against atomic mass, what he observed? He observed that at some points there is a peak, like this. The peak, what he observed, the atomic volume has been increased, again it is decreased, again it is increased, again it is decreased, increased, decreased. So there is a peak is always there. Peak is always there. What he observed. And the periodicity, the length of the periodicity, you can say it is coming after 2 elements, it is coming after 4 elements, as well as it is coming after some elements. So what you observe, there is a periodicity in the properties of the elements when he arranges elements in order of increasing the atomic mass. That is what Lothar Meyer says, and that is he gives a table which is closely resembles to the your atomic table, periodic table, as on day for which we have the periodic table. But Dmitry Mendeleev has been credited with this father of the periodic table because he has published his periodic table before the Lothar Meyer. So we cannot forget the Lothar Meyer contribution But the Dmitry has published this periodic table much before the Lothar Meyer. So we can understand that is the periodic table. Dove was the first to give the concept that it can be classified on the basis of the properties, and Dmitry Mendeleev was the man. He comes out the concrete solution of this periodic table. So now we understand what the periodic tables of the Mendeleev is. But this you will understand in the next video. Next video, what you will understand what is the Mendeleev periodic table, how we classify it, and what is his drawbacks of this periodic table. Still, he has made a phenomenal contribution in this effect. So, all the best and be best. If you like this video, you can share to your friends, and I think you will be 100% benefited from it because it is a very knowledgeable as far my point of view is concerned.